And it was just a really interesting experience. And the girl and her mom, they had to have been so obsessed because when we walked out, they were still there. Welcome to the Pink SocieTea Podcast. I am your host, DaNietra Hall, and this is my co-host,
Kendall Joy Hall.
And we discuss parenting intentionally to nurture a kingdom society. And basically, we just share stories and just have a good old kiki and a good old talk between a mother and daughter. And just have a good old time. So welcome. Make sure you join the society. Make sure you like and subscribe and share, right?
And comment.
That's
too.
right.
Comment.
Yes, let's get into it. We love to talk to you guys as well. We want to know what's on your mind, what you're thinking, and all of those great things. So today we're going to discuss parenting through my daughter's acting career. Yeah, so she is 17 now. But she has been acting since she was 4 years old.
Yes.
So, wow. Let's do the math on that. It's like 13 years, maybe?
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years.
13.
So, wow, your acting career is as a certified teenager.
Yes.
But yeah, so why I think this is a really good topic to talk about is just a couple of things. There's been so much change within the industry. We do live in Los Angeles. We didn't start in Los Angeles, though. We've been here for, 8 or 9 years? Yeah, so she started her acting career when she was 4. She'd always want to act. She's always wanted to act when she was 3 years old, which I thought was really strange. She would always ask me, could she be on TV? And I'm like, what? No, go sit down, And then out of the blue, when she was 4 years old, a good friend of mine had an opportunity for her through her former agent of hers, or an agent that she had of hers. And Kendall Joy auditioned, booked the job, and it's been on ever since. So I guess I want to talk about it because I actually had someone call me today, and we had a conversation about some moms that are in the business who really live vicariously through their child, right? And I think we see that we see that a lot, right? But especially with acting. And I'm going to give you a chance to talk, but I just want to paint the picture here.
No, I like listening. Even though I am supposed to talk on the podcast, I'm a good listener.
You're a good listener. But yeah, I just want to set this up for the people at home who maybe want to really, really understand what this life is, what it's about, all those different things, right? So we see parents living vicariously through their children in sports, in pageants, in various arenas, right? Especially in acting, right? In Hollywood. So, but here's a big difference. So I remember Kendall Joy we finally had her in dance. You were finally doing ballet. And at this point, you were probably about 6.
Oh yeah, that was when I was doing it willingly.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. If you've
watched,
you know that
the past
story.
episodes.
So there was this gentleman. He was a dance dad, and he was just going in on like these child actors, right? All the I won't name names. It is what it is. If you can just only imagine the child actors, right? And he's going in about how horrible they turned out, and Hollywood is this and da 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 da, right? And if my daughter does dance, she does volleyball, she plays soccer. If she ever wanted to stop doing that, then I will support her. I'm not going to make my kid do what they don't want to do. And we all as parents understand that, right? I definitely would never, want my kid to do anything that they don't want to do, right? So I listened. So I said, well, here's the thing. My child is a child actor. She's a child. I hate using that term, child actor, but she was a child who acts, right? And I said, here's the difference and how people can get caught up in that. And I'm not saying, disclaimer, I've never got caught up in that, right? So no. I want to, I want to say that because we've had some opportunities, some offers come our way that we just knew this was not going to be a good fit for us, right? So we turned those things down. So I just have to say that. However, when you're in a space and you see how things operate, you can see how easily somebody can get trapped into it. So I said, listen, when your kid coming to this dance class, when they are playing volleyball, soccer, all those things, you're pretty much paying money, right? You got to pay for uniforms. You got to pay for dance class. You got to pay for those things. When your child is an actor, and on the level that, some of our kids can be on, your child is making more than you in a week for just showing up 15 minutes on a set. And they're asking questions like, what would you like? You have security, your own trailer. You have a set teacher, studio teacher, set teacher, whatever you want to call it, like a second parent there. That can make certain people who do not know who they are feel a certain way, right? So you have these parents who have children who are in the business, and then everything gets redirected and everything is placed on what is your latest booking. The value on the child becomes that. And that's what I had to explain to him. I said, listen, if you haven't been in that space, you really can't judge these people, right? Yes, it's wrong. I believe that it's wrong for people to take advantage of their children, to put those heavy burdens on them. But it is not the same playing field. To say that my kid plays soccer, nothing wrong against soccer players. We love you guys. But I'm saying, and I'm speaking on this because I was a mom and we supported our son's baseball career. And that's strenuous. Every sports parents we know that's every day of the week. A dance mom, you're there. I was a dancer. My mother didn't have a life. I danced 6 days a week. So I'm not saying it's anything wrong with that, but what I'm saying is it's a different position. The positioning is different. We're paying for travel ball. We're paying for dance. We're paying for those things. When your child is getting paid, at a level that could be crazy, right? That changes things for some people, for a lot of parents. And so we want to talk about that. So that's just to kind of set up what it looks like from a parental standpoint. And when you're not healed as a parent, when you don't want to offer your child the best, and you misconstrue their value based on how they can book something, that's when the things kind of get crazy. So I'm gonna ask you, I guess I'll switch this over to you so you can have finally talk, right? How do you feel your career has gone mixed in with your parenting from your mother and your father so far?
Well, I feel like with both of your parenting being like different from what you described, how some actors' parents are, I feel like it's gone well, and I am satisfied with the things that I've done because there's no stress involved, or, you know, my worth isn't tied to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's interesting that you brought up the word stress because I've seen it. I've seen where...
And now I do have to say, there are, it's not just like an easy thing, because acting is definitely not easy, but,
the stresses don't come from us. Is that what you're trying to say? It's like stress there, right? Right. So
like there would be some times where, like, before the strike and COVID and things like that, I would get like 3 auditions a week, and like 2 of them would be 5 pages, 1 of them would be 10 pages. And I guess that is to a point where it could be stressful.
Yeah.
To like memorize all of that. And plus, and I know that we're steering off into another subject. I am going to get back to that. But like, I feel like auditions are more stressful than when I'm on the job, because it's like,
you got the job.
It's like I got the job, so I am this character.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say the stress doesn't come from you guys.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So there's definitely, and we'll talk about that later. Okay. But there's definitely stress, with it. You know, a lot of times, you know, just being whatever you do, you know, there's definitely could be being a parent can be stressful. You know, so but the point that I'm trying to make is making sure that your kid knows who they are. And again, this whole podcast is about parenting intentionally to nurture a kingdom society. So it's who are they in God, right? And so sometimes there is, you know, sometimes that can be missed because you're trying to make them something that you want them to be. And it's not who God has called them to be. And so a lot of times we can struggle, you know, when I say we, parents in general, sometimes parents can get that all wrong in, you know, kind of like forcing or willing a child to be something that God never even intended for them to be. So I think we have to listen to our children. We have to just see what would be a good fit. There's times where I feel like some kids should have taken a break, because sometimes breaks are needed, you know. But parents are just like, oh no, you might miss. You know, you take a break, you might miss a good booking. You might miss this opportunity. And that makes me think of, you know, I had a conversation here recently about you and, you know, well, what is she doing? And should she be doing this, that, and the third? And I said, listen, my child has been acting since she was 4. It's been her entire life. And we are at a stage where things have just totally shifted in Hollywood. So if you don't know that, they have totally shifted. So I'll get people saying like, well, you know, what should I do? How should I start? Listen, I can't really offer that anymore because everything's changed. Everything has literally changed since we got into this business. So, you know, with that being said, I think so I had to let the person know, like, listen, we are in a stage she's at a stage in her life where she's a senior in high school. She's in her, you know, CEO, COO, executive producer, screenwriter, her, you know, podcast host, she's in her boss lady bag, you know.
Thank you.
And I'm happy for you, you know, and I don't want to disrupt that. And there was this thing about taking it's some high school proficiency test as an actor that will basically it makes you have the adult hours, right? And it was like, well, you know, that's just where it's at right now, and she really won't book unless she has this test, well, then that's not where we're at. So we're now going to spend, and this is not me making that decision for her, but these are things that we've discussed together, as business partners, as mom and daughter, things like that, to where we have to respect the seasons that our children are in. She hasn't had a journey that's been like everybody else's. She's been homeschooled since the third grade. So I'm like, no, if she wants to take a breather to reposition herself in her career, because at this point, if she's going to wait on somebody to call her, yeah,
no,
we're going to be waiting. So, because things have just shifted. So now she has to figure out what does her career look like? What does her career look like in another position, like in another way?
Yes.
And how can she create spaces for herself? Which is why I feel like it's another elevation, because we came to LA 8 years ago,
Yeah.
9 years ago, because she hit the ceiling. Sorry guys.
Hit
Am I
the
good?
ceiling.
Right? Like, because she hit the ceiling in Nashville and it was like, it was time to move here. And it just really made sense for our family, because my husband's a filmmaker. Obviously she's an actress. Our son plays baseball, so this was a good state for him to continue his endeavors in that. But now with the shift, things do look very different. And so now she gets a chance to reevaluate what her career looks like in LA from a different standpoint.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, because I've been talking a whole lot. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Not to that. No.
No.
There was like in the past what you said.
In the past?
What
do you mean?
Like when you were talking about the parents and how they can get carried away with their child's career, and just like living through their child. I had some thoughts on that.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell us your thoughts.
I could definitely, I feel like part of that doesn't affect, I have a strong opinion on that. Like, because you and Daddy have both been like amazing in not doing that. Like, you've been the total opposite, and you've like just guided me in my passion. But when other parents do that to their children, it really affected like their friendships with me, and it ended up like hurting me.
Yeah.
So I think for parents out there that are realizing these patterns in the way that they're handling their child's career should really think about how it's also affecting other people, not just your child, in the long run.
All right, let's talk about it, because you opened up the bag of worms, and that was good. That's really, really, really good. I mean, this, what's funny? So I'm going to talk about like when you did pageants, right? Kendall Joy used to do like scholarship pageants. So she didn't do like, what would they call them on the top?
Wait, scholarship pageants? What does that mean?
Yeah, so it wasn't like where it was glitz.
Oh,
right? So it's
okay.
glitz, and so when you were a certain age, it would be, you get, when you win, you get scholarships, right?
Oh, wow, so, I should start doing that again. I didn't know that it was scholarship pageants.
Yeah, it was. So you were doing that when you were little, and even that's a competitive space. but that was more of a sisterhood type of space, right?
I definitely, not to interrupt. I don't know if it was because I was younger and children can't really pick up on certain things, but I would definitely say that my interactions in the pageant field were a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was going to say that. So when we shifted to acting, I was like, whoa, I will never forget. So Kendall Joy's first booking, we were here. It was crazy. We got here in July 1st, 2016. And man, that was a bit of a very interesting journey because we got here with this crazy manager to this day. To this day, we have not met her in person.
I forgot about
I know
about that manager.
Yeah. But
it's like every time you bring her up, it's like,
it was just,
I remember.
But you know how God uses things and people and situations to get you, to move you to the next point. And that, when you, in hindsight, that's basically what that was. But we were here without a representation for about a month. And we had our agent in Atlanta open up a satellite office here in LA. So we were here, we didn't really get much. And then so they came here in, I want to say like mid-September. Maybe it was mid-September. Yeah, they came here like mid-September, got her audition right away. And that was her Grey's Anatomy audition. I think her name was Linda Lowy. Was that the casting office? Shout out to Linda Lowy office. But I would never forget sitting in that audition. And everybody it was like all these girls that you would see on TV. And I'm like, wow. But then, we're green, right? So people are like, who is this new girl on the block? And so the mothers were like, and I'm thinking they're trying to be nice to me. And they're like, yeah, what agency is she with? And at that time, I didn't even know that being with a specific agent was a thing, right? So I'm like, we just got here, only been here for a couple of months. And, we're from Nashville. And so even saying we're from Nashville, and no, nothing against the Nashvillians, okay?
Because I'm a Nashvillian.
In your heart.
Yes, in my heart.
Yes, she is technically a Nashvillian. She was born in Detroit, but I've lived in Nashville.
I was raised in Nashville.
Yeah. So we moved to Nashville. She was like 9 or 10 months. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is everybody was like, what, where are you from and how long you been here and what's your agency? And they were like, kind of like snickering, like, oh, we ain't got nothing to worry about. She ain't nobody, type of thing. Right. And I'm like, and so the reason why I say no, nothing against Nashvillian people, we came from Nashville. So I said we were from Nashville, but I'm not from Nashville. I'm from the east side of Detroit. Okay. So my street smarts and my past, that's another story for another day. But where I come from, I've been trained to see things from a mile away. Right now, I'll give you your space to, make a friend, all of those type of things. But I know when you're trying to play me. You know what I mean? I know when you're trying to be funny. So this was one of those situations. And I'm like, oh, okay. They trying to be mean girls. Okay. Well, as she was saying about just being just competitive, it's really the mothers. Because these are kids. It is the mothers. And they want to look you up and down. They come. Kendall Joy, I told her, I'm like, listen, business is business. You don't discuss your work with anybody. They'll try to corner her at auditions. And
I actually did take that to heart a lot because that, when people are like, "Oh, what have you been on?" And I'm just like, I've been on TV shows, commercials, even when I was talking about the ones. I guess we'll get into that.
Yeah, but she's
some
very
other
literal.
time.
She's very literal. So because so a person that could ask her and she could tell whatever too, she would be like, "Oh no, I don't." She would keep it real short. Yeah. But with these people, I would always tell her. She would always say, "Oh, I don't talk about that. You can ask my mother." And they don't want to come to the big dog. So it's like that was a way to like say, "I'm not playing with you. I'm at work. So leave me alone. And whatever you need to ask my mother." So, and again, with the competition part of it, there was a young lady that she befriended. And long story short, so this person made it a point to let me know that they were at this audition, right? Which I think is strange. This is how you let you know that some parents are obsessed. They will watch the sign-in sheet. When you have an audition, you sign in. You normally put like maybe your name, your SAG number, if you're SAG.
Agency.
You're in your agency, things like that, right? So you have mothers, these in competition, and they want to know who's all here. So I get this call or this text saying, "Oh, I see that your daughter was at this audition. My daughter's here too." Okay, you want a cookie? Like, what do you... I mean, like, I just don't come from that, So, okay. So one day I was taking them home, and she's like, she's in my car, guys. She's literally in my car. And she's like, "Yeah, so-and-so," talk about her daughter, "got a call back. And I'm going to have to pay to make her SAG and da-da-da-da-da." All these things, right? She's trying to act like she's trying to be discreet, but also let me know that her daughter is got this callback, right? Or has been pinned, right? Little does she know. This is why you have to be, play your cards right. Little does she know, I'm cracking up on the inside because I'm like, this is hilarious. She thinks there's no way that my daughter would have gotten pinned for this, right? And I'm rolling, right? So I'm like, oh wow, she did all these theatrics, and little does she know, my kid is gonna be in that same room, right? So, we get to the audition. And it was crazy because it was two little girls there. So Kendall Joy was pinned for this particular... Well, we'll talk about the story. So Kendall Joy was pinned for her Grey's Anatomy. This was her first audition. So she was pinned for this. And pinned means... So there's two terms for this. So pinned is usually a term that they use for theatrical jobs, and theatrical is not theater. Theatrical is TV and film. Okay, and they used the term, is it hold?
On a veil?
Oh. A veil, yeah. So they used the word avail.
I don't know if it's called, I don't know if the word is veil or...
It's avail. Like, are you available?
Okay.
Avail. So they use avail for...
to see what dates you're available for.
But for commercials.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Commercials.
Anyway, so she was pinned. And usually if you get a pin or a veil, that means they have, like, you and another person or you and a few other people. Like, they narrowed it all the way down, right? Yeah. They're going to pick out of that particular batch.
Probably, like, 5 people or less.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say.
And that's a lot. But yeah, about 5 people or less, because there was 4 people at this audition. So we walk in. There was 2 girls and their moms there. Then we walk in. And so I'm thinking, where's that other little girl at? And then they walk in, and it was like they saw a ghost. Again, because these people underestimated my daughter's talent. They were like, oh, she's just fresh off the Nashville vote. Like, there's no way that she could be in the running for getting this role. So,
and that is actually a little bit. So at the time, I did not know that this was.
Oh yeah.
Going on. Like, I was just like, oh, I made a friend. But I do think that it is very messed up to judge someone based on location or state or city, because it's like that does not affect your acting.
Yeah. But at that time, I'm talking about the moms.
That's what I'm saying.
The moms, because they're thinking, oh, she's from the country. That's what they're thinking.
And what does that have to do with acting at all?
I understand what you're saying, but that's what they're thinking. Oh, she's from the country. We've been out here in LA, or if they're from a city, if they're from like New York, or they're from Chicago, or they're from Detroit, like if they're from a city that's like popping, city people already think, sometimes they think the South, and that's a big misconception, because if you haven't been to the South, you don't know how would you judge somebody, and they have these, not everybody, but some people have these misconceptions about Southern people. Which is why, again, I was like, nothing against Nashvillians, but if you're thinking I'm from Nashville, I am not from Nashville. I'm from Detroit, the mean streets of the D. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you even, your whole misconception about me is wrong. Yeah. Like, whatever you thought was wrong, right? So, and that's what I meant by that, because people make assumptions about people based on location, based on all kinds of things. And it's wrong, but people do. Right? So, anyway, getting back to this situation. So, Kendall Joy was like the third person on the sheet. They signed up last. Well, they came and got this girl. They got the two girls. And they skipped Kendall Joy and they called the girl that was, And I was thinking, oh, Mom, they forget about my baby. And so they came back. And the guy goes, well, I guess we saved the best for last. Come on in, Kendall Joy. And it was just a really interesting experience. And the girl and her mom, they had to have been so obsessed, because when we walked out, they were still there. I'm like,
wow, I didn't even like.
Yeah, they were still there.
There were so many things that like I didn't even like. That went over my head
because. And okay, so that's a good thing.
And I just thought, it was because we took them just home last time.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. I would drive you home. I'm still gonna be me, right? I'm gonna still be nice. I'm gonna still do all the great things. Meanwhile, you're gonna get cracked over the head spiritually because you messing with the wrong people. Like we didn't come here for that, And I think, speaking of the same person, of the same situation, right? Kendall Joy had a situation with some girls where it just was bad. It had to get, law enforcement involved, and it's just sad. I mean, it's just, it's just really, really sad. And it's sad because you see the effects of parental neglect. And I think when we think about parental neglect, we think about, oh, you're not feeding your kids. We think the extreme. But parental neglect could be what she was talking about before, having conversations you shouldn't be having in front of your children. Like if I could have been having conversations like, yeah, that little girl, you better beat that little girl. You better, don't go. What? But I know people were having these conversations with their kids. They're misplacing value with their children based on a competitive nature. I mean, there's nothing wrong with healthy competition, but some of that competition is not, I don't know. I think your competition is yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, and this might sound a bit like stupid to compare it to, but I am very competitive when it comes to video games or board games, because I feel like that is a healthy space to be competitive because it's nothing serious. But I feel like when you're competitive in something that involves your job, that is not the way to go about it, because just wrath can end up ruining the entire experience, and it can take the passion away. And it can take the thrill away from wanting to do it in the first place, if the child even wanted to do it, because some parents force their children to.
Absolutely. It's like a misplaced purpose. Thank you. It's a misplaced purpose, like you said, when now you're not focusing on getting or doing your best, right? You're more so focused on outdoing another
someone
person
else.
that you don't even know what they're doing in the room half the time. You don't know what they're doing in the room. So,
and also that's just point. Really, I feel like I'm too like prideful to do that, because it's like,
right,
that's really embarrassing to like to think, oh, what is she doing? What is that person doing? Like, I don't think that I could like live with doing that and thinking that constantly, because there are other things that I need to fill my time with.
You better preach.
Like watching TV shows,
or just other stuff,
indulging in pastries, these pastries. But there are other things. You can't get consumed by this one thing, because at that point, that's just lame.
And you have no control over somebody else.
Yeah.
Focus on you. I remember my dad used to always say, he's like, baby, listen, I don't care what you want to be in life. Just be the best at it. Don't worry about, and he always said, and this is why I believe I am not, like, I love beautiful people. I love people thriving in their purpose. That gets me going. I get excited, right? So when I was little, I had some cousins, like my mother's friends' kids. They were in this talent show, and my dad, and they were sparkle, so my aunt, she's very creative. She made their outfits, and my dad, when they left, they did their routine, all this stuff. So when he left, my daddy said, oh, you got the green eye. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, oh, you're jealous of those little girls. And so as I don't remember knowing exactly that I felt that way in that moment, but I just remember always having this high respect for my father, and just knowing whatever he said, that must have been true at the time, right? So I know that may sound strange, but he said, baby, let me tell you something. He said, you ain't never got to be jealous of nobody. He said, because guess what? You'll never be nobody else but yourself. He said, so you be wasting your time wanting to be something that you'll never be. You can never be somebody else. He said, so just be the best you. He said, I don't care if you are a janitor. I don't care. Whatever it is that you decide to do in life, just be the best at it. Be the best you that you can be. Don't look at nobody else and try to be them, because you will never be them. And so I just tried to instill that in my own kids. It's like, just be you. Why would you waste your time trying to be somebody else? Celebrate the other people. Yes, they're going to be people and they're going to be having some good seasons of their life. Celebrate them. It's okay. It's not going to hurt you to celebrate them. And I don't know that's easier said than done, because sometimes when you're struggling, and your friend and is getting all these great blessings and everything overflowing in their lives or whatever, sometimes that is easier said than done. But it can you can really be truthfully, your heart can really, really be happy for people. You want to get your kids in the industry. It's like, I want to do what you do. I want, how do you do this? How, da, da, da. People think that it takes a cute kid, a kid that has personality for their family. That may not be the case. That may not be the case. Every cute kid is not industry ready. Every cute kid, just because your child is cute, it's like, okay, there's a gazillion cute kids. Just because your child is silly or whatever, that doesn't mean it takes another type of stamina to do things in front of a camera.
You know what? Whenever you say that, I always think of Raven-Symoné in The Cosby Show. I think that she was an amazing example of a little kid that was always like, of course we don't know what she had to do like behind the scenes if there was trouble learning her lines, but it seems like her lines were always on point. She always had excellent comedic timing. And I really feel like that's a really good example.
You know what's interesting? I watched a thing on her, and she said she was just a kid who I guess just had a talent of knowing their lines.
Oh wow!
But she's talked about some of her struggles with her parents and a lot of different things.
I don't know about that. But I didn't know.
Yeah, but that's a good example as far as just having talent at that young age. But I also think that when you're that young, it's so easy for people to put their claws in you. Because you don't have a voice. You're young. Yeah. Everything will become about your job, and about the money the income that you're bringing into the family. But as far as what you were saying about that, not to derail the whole point, but yeah, it's like she definitely.
I think that is really important, though.
Yeah. Hey, Raven-Symoné. Yeah, she was definitely gifted as a child, because everybody can't pull that off.
Yeah.
Everybody cannot pull that off. So yeah.
Wow. So have we talked about everything?
I don't think we'll ever talk about everything.
I don't know. Like, what else is there to say?
Well, what else do you want to do? What are you trying to do right now?
Well, acting will always have a place in my heart, but some other things that I'm trying to do is writing, producing, also being an intern. I've been enjoying that a lot, being an intern. Taking on more leadership and what do they call it? Speaking engagements. Taking on more leadership positions and speaking engagements. I have gotten questions about like if I would be interested in directing. That's not something that I'm interested in.
No.
But all the other things, yes.
Why don't you want to direct?
Because it's like,
The commitment?
No.
Okay.
It's just with directing, you have the power to make a good script the most amazing thing the most like amazing movie that some people have like ever seen, or you also have the power to make a really good script the worst movie that some people have ever seen. Like good writing can change a lot with the directing, if that makes sense.
You mean good directing?
Well,
Could bring out
good directing and bad directing can really change the way that a script is written.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not at that. I know. And, you know, my dad is a director, but I don't really know that much about directing, or don't think that I have those types of skills to have a good imagination and tell people, oh, this is how you do this, or things like that.
I guess what I'm asking is that, so what I'm hearing is something different from what I'm asking. What I'm hearing is I don't have the skills to do that. What I'm asking is something that you would be interested in learning doing?
Ooh.
You know?
Is it?
There's this the look off into the sky. Guess that's where the answer is. Ooh.
It's a very powerful, you know, position. And I would need to learn a lot. Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting. I definitely think you should ask your, you know, obviously just like have your dad take you through certain things, but we'll have a few directors on my other podcast.
Ooh,
Shout out
okay.
to Prosperity of Pink podcast. Where we will have some pretty well-known directors in over there, so that might be a good time for you to kind of tap in.
Okay.
No, just to see what, you know, what that's all about. But yeah, so, you know, just having this time in your life, we're going to kind of let you close with, you know, how have your experience been acting from the beginning to now? Like, you know, have you ever felt like your worth or your value was in acting? I know we didn't get a chance to talk about our journey with auditioning and self-tapes, because there were some little rough patches there in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But, you know, we worked it out.
Yeah.
And we made it more so like a collaboration with that. But if you could just overall let us know, you know, the space that you're in right now with everything.
I think, I think I'm definitely in a space where I'm taking a different approach to my acting career. I'm not waiting to book an audition. I need to start writing my own things, producing my own things, collaborating. And that's what I'm really excited for. I'm collaborating with my dad on a project.
All right. Shout out to Harold Hall Jr.
Yes. And that's something that I'm really excited for. Yeah. And I definitely feel like the approach in thriving in your acting career has changed from when I was 4 years old. That was in the 2010s. Back in the olden days. At the old house.
At the old house. So funny.
So yeah, I've never felt like there was stress on booking things.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's how I would answer it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for, just talking about that. I know it's still a part of your life. We'll probably talk about it more, But it was just good to just have at least one conversation where we tackled just a couple of things to kind of explain um, a little bit of our journey. We just scratched the surface. So thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you soon at the Pink
SocieTea
Society Podcast.
Podcast. Bye.